Hi, I'm Sylvia Worsham. Welcome to Focus Fridays. Today's focus is on the power of forgiveness, belief focus, and lastly, gratitude. These are lessons I reference in an article published on my LinkedIn profile titled The Gift of Time. In it, I discuss 7 lessons I learned in a particularly hard experience with my son and my career. But I wanted to reference 4 of those lessons here today on Focus Fridays. My hope is that these lessons will help you transform your relationships. The story I'm about to share is a very personal story to me, as they almost always are. Story of forgiveness of my husband, of myself, a story of belief that our marriage would survive, an emotional turning point, as they seem to exist in young marriages like ours, and a story of being grateful for allowing me to become the best version of myself through that very emotional experience. In reflection last week, as I was taking the Transform You 45 Days to Successful Habits program, I realized I still held some resentment from an emotional turning point that our marriage suffered last year. So I decided very quickly to apply some of these lessons I had learned previously in an emotional time in my life right after my divorce in 2009. The most powerful one of the lessons is the lesson of forgiveness. Writing a letter to my husband was very freeing. I forgave him for how he had made me feel and for the experience that was that emotional turning point. I also forgave myself, and ultimately I took ownership for those feelings, for that old self. Because the moment that you take ownership for your role in any situation is the power you take back for yourself. For yourself to become the best version that you can be. That's lesson 1. Lesson 2 is on belief and focus. I believed wholeheartedly that my marriage would survive, that my marriage was happy and thriving and the best partnership in the world. And because of that belief, that focus was able to be shifted from a side of fear and scarcity, which is where I began a year ago, and why that resentment had built up so much over the last year, to a side of love and abundance, which is where all the blessings and God exists and God lives. And as a woman of faith, that's where I live. I live in alignment with God. The purpose of my life is the purpose He has envisioned for me. So the belief was there, and the belief was very strong, and it was able to shift that focus from a side of fear, a negative side, to a positive side of love and abundance. So what I did after writing that letter of forgiveness to my husband is I proceeded to write out all the good that came out of that experience, all of it. And when feelings like these feelings arise, and they sometimes will, because those patterns of behavior have been ingrained in you for so long, from the age of 7 till now, that's how long those beliefs have had and how long we have been programming our unconscious mind to believe and to feel a certain way. They're very strong in us. So only having a year of new programming is not going to be enough at times. It's a continual journey. It's a consistency. It's a daily check-in with your feelings and catching yourself in these patterns of behavior that ultimately will lead to your success in your life, in your relationships, and keeping them transformed and beautiful and thriving and vibrant. And lastly, gratitude. I thanked him in that letter. It was a letter of forgiveness and a letter of gratitude. A letter of gratitude for allowing me the opportunity to become the best version of myself. And in doing so, I let go. I was free of that old identity. And I was free to become that new identity, that thriving identity that I had envisioned all along in our relationship. But guys, this is a continual journey. This is something that must have consistency on your part for you to see any success in your lives. It's a consistent effort. It's a continual journey. It's a continual checking in and allowing the patterns to surface so that you can grab a hold of that pattern, ask the right questions. What is this trigger? Why am I feeling this way? Those are the questions asking yourself in reflection that will help you lead you down the path of success in any relationship in your life. I hope this story has empowered you. I hope it has changed your perspective. I hope it has influenced you to continuously strive to become the best version of yourself. I'm Sylvia Villalobos Worsham, your host of Focus Fridays. Please tune in next week. I'd love to see you again and to provide as much value and growth into your life as I can. Remember, I'm focused on your growth. Have a wonderful week. Love you guys. Thank you so much for your time and for your attention.